Well, it seems that you guys had a lot to say about this list, and I'm glad really, because any discussion about literature is a good discussion in my books. See what I did there? Sorry, I'll try and keep the puns to a minimum in this video. The fact of the matter remains, in our previous video we began by quoting the Dark Tower's Jake with "Go then, there are other worlds than these," and thankfully for us, the sprawling infinite imaginarium of the glorious human mind has delivered us a myriad of worlds for us to sink our teeth into. Some of them are full of hope and joy, others of adventure and eternal endeavour, and others are just straight up horrifying. In that case, I guess we better take another look. Hello horror fans, what's going on, and once again welcome back to the Scary Channel on YouTube. Top 5 Scary videos. As per usual, I'll be your horror host Jack Finch, as today we curiously take a look at the top 5 most terrifying places in literature, part 2. Roll the clip.
That I do my very best to protect you. The world can be quite an ugly place.
For the curious amongst you, that clip was from season 1 of The Handmaid's Tale, a fantastic series starring the remarkable Elizabeth Moss, based upon the equally fantastic and terrifying novel of the same name by Margaret Atwood. For all intents and purposes, Gilead deserves its spot on any terrifying place in literature list, but I'm pretty hopeful that whole pile of crapola is gonna burn down to the ground, so yeah, consider it today's most honourable of honourable mentions. Let's get to it, shall we? Kicking off at number 5, Castle Gormenghast, the Gormenghast series. Alright guys, I'm probably telling a little bit of a white lie with this one, but stick with me because I'm fairly certain for those that are unaware of this gem of a series, it's well worth it. The Gormenghast series, written by Mervyn Peake, is one of the most fantastic works of gothic fantasy horror ever written, and it's still strange to see it as such an enigma in the works of literature. Honestly, Gormenghast is so underrated that it borders on criminal, but still, it has its place where it counts, and beyond the realms of contemporary fiction, is considered one of the finest fantasy series ever written. That's because it is. And now, if I'm being completely honest, it's not that scary unless you find yourself in the way of the Machiavellian mind of Steerpike, but for the fact of us detailing one of the most mysterious and looming structures in the whole of Gothic literature, it's definitely worth it. And as far as ancient, impossibly large castles go, Castle Gormenghast is the blueprint for all of them. In Mervyn Peake's first novel, Titus Groan, written way back when in 1946, it detailed the ancient family of Groan, headed by Lord Sir Palgrave, the 76th Earl of Groan, and his wife Countess Gertrude. The couple give birth to the family's heir, Titus, but the novel itself isn't focused on the newborn just yet. Instead, it details the rise of Steerpike, one of the most fascinating anti-heroes ever written, who starts life as a kitchen boy in the castle's bowels, and slowly he makes his way upward, both physically and hierarchically. I mean, whether you want to carry this series on is another question, but Titus Groan on its own paints such a vivid picture of an impossibly large and imposing structure that it's so easy to get lost in the labyrinthian description. Honestly, I know it might not sound it, but reading Titus Groan is an experience. Mervyn's prose winds like echoed footsteps in a stone corridor, and before you know it, you're there in a maze of murder and intrigue, an ancient ritual. Yeah, I'm cheating a little bit with this one because, to be honest, I just wanted to talk to you guys about Gormenghast, so there we have it, on with the show. Swinging in at number 4, Carcosa, an inhabitant of Carcosa. Okay, let's get into the meat and bones of this whole list with a little bit of everyone's favourite medicine, cosmic horror. The fact of the matter remains that although this specific place was only first ever alluded to in a short story with the mere passing of a reference, it has gone on to spawn one of the most mysterious and intriguing locations in the whole of literature without ever once being described. And so because of that, we're best served by delving into all of them. For fans of the works of H.P. Lovecraft, which, let's face it, is the vast majority of you, you'll know that the resounding writer of cosmic horror owed several of his literary titles to one of his predecessors, Ambrose Bierce, who in 1886 first penned the name of the ancient and mysterious city of Carcosa in his short story, An Inhabitant of Carcosa. It details a man wandering alone through a bleak and bizarre wilderness who eventually realizes that he is dead and stumbles through the ruins of the ancient and famous city of Carcosa. And the rest, as they say, is history, because it wasn't until 1895 that the fantastic author Robert W. Chambers then borrowed the name for his own horror series, The King in Yellow, again laying the foundation for the majority of Lovecraftian fiction, where he outlined the possible location of Carcosa on the distant shores of Lake Harley in the star cluster Hyades. Again, the legend of Carcosa grew, this time being wrapped up with the yellow sign, before being picked up again by Lovecraft and then added into the Cthulhu mythos And that's where things got really terrifying, because instead of clarifying on the matter, they only got more mysterious. Alright, I get it guys, Carcosa by its nature is indescribable and unknowable, but that's the point of cosmic horror, right? The real weirdness is how many times this damn city has cropped up in other works of literature. It's been alluded to in more Lovecraftian fiction than you could ever imagine, but not only that, it appears in the works of David Drake, George R.R. Martin, Alan Moore, and countless others. In the fantastic season 1 of True Detective, Carcosa again is the crux of the whole show, and the yellow sign appears too. Hey, if you've seen True Detective, you know the implications of Russ Cole's and Marty Hart's findings at Carcosa. Yeah, put a pin in this one because we may never know. Next up at number 3, The Abyss, Dungeons & Dragons. Alright guys, I'm not gonna lie, this list is a little bit of a crowd pleaser, but hey, it's got everything that I love: Gormenghast, cosmic horror, and then the next best thing, D&D. For those of you that have played Dungeons & Dragons, the finest pen and paper role-playing game ever created, you'll know how rich and impossibly vast the fictional cosmology of its universe truly is. And for a canon that relies on over 45 years of expanded universes upon expanded universes, there is perhaps only one place that takes the cake as the home of everything and anything evil. Well, chaotic evil, to be specific. The Abyss, otherwise known as the infinite layers of the Abyss, or the aforementioned 666 layers of the Abyss, a place of such overwhelming evil that even warlocks fear to tread. Or rogue warlock hybrids. The fact that the Abyss has seen so many incarnations of what it is and what it could be has given rise to a whole topographical list of terrifying terrains. A place of existence that hosts a myriad of death and misery, fierce desert sandstorms, explosive volcanic activity, boiling lava and molten rock. Whilst at the same time, as you slip through its many layers, it's then a wasteland of blinding sub-zero glaciers, bottomless oceans filled with terrifying leviathans, putrid hellscapes of death, disease and all manners of fungal infection, and of course the blank infinite void of space. It's safe to say that if your party ever ends up in the Abyss for whatever reason, you're pretty much good and dead, even if your alignment is chaotic evil, and even if you think you're the most evil demon in the valley. Not only that though, the Abyss thrives on its demonic denizens, the Tanari, the ancient Oberiths, the Lumaris, and an unimaginable number of unknown and unexplored demonic lifeforms. And if that's not enough, the true terror of the Abyss is that you'll never ever really know where you are, given the fact that its infinite layers and planes of torment twist and turn eternally. The layers of the Abyss are often described as a deck of playing cards, shuffled and then tossed away, piled together haphazardly or sometimes not at all. Chaotic evil shuffles the deck, and before you figure out where you may be, it's already too late. The Abyss, sinkholes, demon lords. Yeah, it's a bit of a headache to say the least. It's a good job I play a bard so I can just dimension door out of there. Safety first, guys. Coming in at number 2, Todash Darkness, the Stephen King macroverse. This one has been a long time coming, but I for one am glad that we finally made it here. Also, I'll try and keep spoilers for this entry to a minimum, but please note we'll be talking a lot about the Dark Tower series and pretty much the outcome of some of the most important works ever written by Stephen King, so yeah. I guess you've been warned. Now, where do we even start with Todash Darkness, or well, Todash Space maybe, or the Macroverse? No one's entirely sure what it's called or what it even is. In fact, whilst its very nature is to be mysterious and elusive, it's no great secret that the works of Stephen King are in fact connected. All of them, pretty much, from The Stand to Salem's Lot to The Mist, the Tommyknockers, It. All of the works of Stephen King are interconnected in a mind-bending multiverse or macroverse, and it all converges in his resounding series, The Dark Tower. Okay, we'll stop there because spoilers are abound, but the point is, this macroverse, so to speak, in the strange edges and dark corners of it, is populated by Todash Darkness, the home of unknowable and unimaginable evil. It is said that It, more commonly known as Pennywise the Clown, was a creature that existed in the void between the macroverse before he ran into the Losers Club, but that's another story for a different time, because it is thought that Todash Darkness isn't just populated by It or the Deadlights, the evil, all-consuming eldritch energy that It actually is, but an entire host of impossibly evil creatures and creations that are just waiting to spill out into all of existence. Todash, in essence, is the act of travelling between the thin spaces of the macroverse, or thinnies, as is explained in the Dark Tower series, but I'll leave that for you to find out on your own. And Todash Darkness is the evil that is conjured if you linger there too long. It is the home of Cthulhu and the Leatherheads from under the dome. In The Mist, the Arrowhead Project is believed to be the reason why the town of Bridgeton, Maine suddenly became a target of the macroverse, multiverse, and the whole host of cosmic horrors that spawned around the town were of Todash darkness. They are the Tommyknockers. It's even thought that in From a Buick 8, the car itself is a portal to Todash darkness, and that by proxy, Christine, the car from the novel of the same name, is a similar macroverse vessel. Yeah, Todash darkness. Your guess is as good as mine. And finally, coming in at number 1 spot, the Warp, Warhammer 40k. Okay, I kind of got a little bit of flack in part 1 of this list for featuring Comora, the home of the Dark Elves, instead of the Warp, but hey, we're working our way toward the big bad baddies of literature, okay guys? Part 2. We're planning for the future. And if you think the concept of Todash darkness is terrifying, move over, because it merely pales in comparison to the myriad of chaos and horrors that call the Warp their home. This absolute box of cosmic horrors, also known as the Immaterium, the Empyrean, the Ether, the Sea of Souls, the Realm of Chaos, Warp Space, or in more succinct terms, the Warp. It has many names for the many sentient species that try and bend it to their will, but of course, such is a sentient civilization's folly. It can't happen. This place is evil incarnate. It is the bizarre, anomalous dimension composed entirely of pure, psychic energy that ties together the already terrifying grim darkness of the Warhammer 40k multiverse, and that's saying something. Now, whilst technically Comora is a location somewhere in the Warp, the Immaterium is a much bigger beast, and there's a lot to chew through. The Warp is the sole source of all psychic power and energy that make up the grim dark magic of Warhammer 40k, and because of that, it is also the home dimension of the Chaos Gods and their impossibly vast legions of demons in their realm of chaos. Khorne, the Lord of Battle, Tzeentch, the Architect of Fate, Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, and Slanesh, the Dark Prince of Chaos. Yeah, if they're not already terrifying enough in their own right, this place is their stomping ground. It's their backyard that you just took a wrong turn into. It is thought by many that the psychic energy that makes up the Immaterium is believed to be the direct result of the existence of all sentient life in the universe, in particular the many intelligent species that make up the Milky Way galaxy. It is considered to be a dark reflection of that material universe, and the Warp is the ocean that relies on the chaotic psychic energy, all raw emotions comprised of the physical form constantly swimming through the life force. It is also thought by many races that the Immaterium is the final resting place of the spirits of the dead, and for all intents and purposes, it is the literal hell of Warhammer 40k. If you know anything about Warhammer, even the most joyful of places is already hell, so yeah, this is like the bottom of all hell. It doesn't get much worse. Well, there we have it, our list for the top 5 most terrifying places in literature. Part 2, what did you guys think? Do you agree? Disagree? Have any more to add to this list? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as any choice picks of your own. And who knows, maybe part 2 will be on the cards. Before we depart from today's video, let's first take a quick look at some of your more creative comments from over the past few days. Maggie Maguire says, the host was funny as hell. Smiley face. Oh. I thought you meant me, but then I realised that you meant 2006's The Host, directed by Bong Joon-ho. Yeah. So close. So very close. Alright, there we have it. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Just stick around all the way until the end. I'm going to go and be sad in a corner somewhere. If you were a fan of this video, or just top 5 scary videos in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your horror host, Jack Finch. You've been watching top 5 scary videos. Until next time, you take it easy.